Hello, hello, my Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your Path of True Love reading for April 2020. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and Virgo Sun sign. Very, very happy to be working for you today, serving as we Virgos do, giving you as much guidance and grace and clarity with some fun on the side that I can deliver for y'all. For y'all? Yeah, for y'all. If you are new to my channel, please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave some comments because I like to know your input, what you're getting out of these as well as we go. So let's get down to business. This is a Path of True Love reading. The Path of True Love is your path, your personal path, your spiritual path, your healing journey, your hero's journey through your many different relationships in this lifetime. We're looking at 1 month of it. This time, obviously, because of the state of the world, we're tweaking it a little bit in the sense that this month I've been guided from my pantheons to look at how we can be our own soulmates, how we can help each other heal ourselves, so to speak, mating with our own soul. Because in that way you are prepared to be a better soulmate to whoever your soulmates are. And there are some links in the description box explaining what soulmate and twin flame are, the differences there, at least how I see them, and the author, the Hay House author, Matt Kahn, sees them differently. It was his info that kind of educated me on that, because I never liked the word twin flame or soulmate. Never really liked it, but I like the way he presents it. So, tell you what, this is a general reading. If you can take what resonates, leave what does not, and check your other signs, you'll get a pretty good idea, clues, tips, and hints of what's available for you on the Path of True Love for April 2020. So focus on your breath as we go. I will do the same. In this way, I'll be able to stay in the present moment, getting you clarity, guidance, and grace as best as I can, and you'll be able to really feel what's going on in your body for what resonates and what doesn't. Cool. Let's do this. We're going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype deck. All the decks that I'm reading, there are only 10 cards total for this spread. All of it's in the description box at the bottom. Go have a look-see-dooksy. I got some other cool stuff down there you might be interested in. So take a deep breath. Here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, one card in clarity for the Virgo collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for the March 2020, month of April 2020 for the Virgo collective. What's the dominant archetype that they are dealing with within themselves that they can work on that, look at that, alchemize the lead to gold, the shadow to light, to mate with their own souls, to be their own soulmate, and therefore prepared for being a better soulmate to whoever they come across in this life. Please, my collective pantheons, there it is. Let's see who you got. Hey, Melchior. My kitties are going to want dinner soon. They can wait. They've been munching all day. Well, how interesting. You got the warrior archetype. I should say we got the warrior archetype. The warrior in its shadow attribute, trading ethical principles for victory at any cost. Been there, done that, have the battle wounds. Indifference to the suffering inflicted to others, really not good. We've all come across that warrior in one shape or form in our lives or in the world. The light attribute, strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. I've often said that the Path of True Love takes a warrior's heart. It takes immense courage, immense heroism, because the opposite of heroism is villainy. So you can see the difference between the hero and the villain in the light and the shadow there, as it were. So come on, buddy. Come on. Come say hello. No, I'm just going to stare at my hand. At least he answered me. No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to. Come here, booger. Come on up. Yeah, sit with Mama. I love my boys. He's such a good boy. 1 of 3. He's my youngest. Let's ask the angels. Look at that tail. You lay down, lay down. Lay down, Mama. He's a good boy. Motherhood, the gift that keeps on giving. Not so much for him now. All right, let's ask the angels what's going on with the Healing with the Angels Oracle with Doreen, or I should say from Doreen Virtue. Nice deep breath. My angels, please, one card in clarity for the Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. What is going on with the Virgo collective on the path of true love in terms of us being our own soulmates for April 2020? Please. These cards are slipping and sliding all over the place. So please, my angels, one card in clarity for us Virgos, April 2020. What's going on in the path of true love as far as us mating with our own souls, being our own soul mates? Considering hooking up probably ain't going to be happening. Oh, it's lovely. Friendship. The healing angels of friendship. So to reestablish friendships, to create new ones. Now again, obviously with social distancing and sheltering in place and all of that, probably making new friendships are going to be mostly virtual, online, etc. But I've been reaching out to a lot of people just saying, hey, hope you are well, you know, blessed be, you're in my prayers, that kind of stuff, as well as doing a lot of spiritual counseling with online friends. Just trying to keep in touch that way. And remember that friendship is very Virgo, right? Because friendships, particularly soulmate friendships, are very healing in and of themselves, even at a distance. But of course, this also means to be friendly with ourselves. In other words, to be okay with not knowing what's gonna happen next. The grace of humility, I call it, interestingly enough, the maiden grace or the virgin grace. Oh, maiden goddess, grant me the maiden grace to know that I do not know, but that I am willing to be shown, right? So this way the mind doesn't run away with us, making assumptions, hence also the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. So that's interesting. The friendly warrior, or the warrior in friendship, which you can imagine a very loyal thing, right? Loyalty going there, loyalty of the heart and courage and all that jazz. We're going to ask the Daughters of the Moon Tarot, usually just the voices of the Divine Feminine, the goddesses. This time we're working with the gods as well, to keep these readings a little bit briefer, considering upload times are kind of insane because everybody's on the internet, bandwidth, use, etc. going on. So what we're going to do is a standard 5-card spread with these, getting more than one here. The element spread, one of my personal favorites, just to see the fire, earth, air, water. Wow, having trouble talking today. Fire, earth, air, and water within the Virgo collective. Let's have a look. Breathe. My gods and my goddesses sacred, please, the top 5 cards for the element spread for the Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for April 2020. What's going on that we can become our own soulmates, the mates of our own soul, hence alchemizing us, getting us ready for the types of perhaps romantic, sexual, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, satisfying soulmate contracts that we have been wanting if we have not manifested them, and even if we have, maybe we're not with them right now. So please, my gods, I hear you. Top 5 cards, element spread, Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, April 2020, please. Maiden, Mother, Crown, there. We go. Great. Let's look. Element of fire. What it is that we want, what we yearn for, what we desire, what we want to choose and decide about. To choose, to want the star. Hope. Now, hope in this time is a valuable, if not a rare, commodity, right? There are so many things that we hoped we would be doing this past month and into the next month that, you know, probably not going to go the way we had hoped it would. But the star, along with the grace of hope, being the mother grace, interesting I mentioned the maiden grace, The Mother Grace is the grace of hope. Grant me the Mother Grace of hope that I alone do nothing, but with the gods all things are possible. A very powerful prayer for me, just to keep me going from day to day, and hopefully that will keep you going for day to day as well. But also absolutely about guidance and grace, to tune to the most spiritual card in the tarot, in my opinion, the Star, that transcendent, to know that there is a divine plan and that we do have guidance and grace, and ultimately we can't get it wrong because we're spirit in form. We are souls that were chosen to play the roles, so that we're all not just interconnected, we're all manifestations of that one star, that one quantum field that is essentially unconditional divine love, right? Very, very powerful card to want that. And certainly for Virgos, that can keep us going, that North Star guiding us all the way home to, of course, us being the mates of our own soul, which we will all be eventually, but also to our highest and best manifestations, the highest possible realities for us that we don't see, but the divine does, right? How lovely. Element of Earth. What do we have that will help us attain that element of fire? And we've got the Gemini card here. Now, maybe there is a Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever going on in the picture here. We don't really know across the board how that's going to play out for everybody watching this. So aside from a Gemini person that is in your life that could help you with this, again, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Neptune, you know, whatever, we are looking at third house, self-expression, communication, information gathering, mutable air, changing the mind, looking at things differently, the twins, right? Listening to that one and then listening to that one and listening to that one, gathering information from all sides. Now, that is obviously an air sign, so it could very much be about communication, and we can still communicate with each other through cell phones, social media, and stuff like that. But it can also be about expanding your mind, changing up what you're thinking, changing up what you're reading, what you're focusing on. That's why, you know, I do tease Geminis, but their ability to take in a lot of different information over a short period of time is rather amazing, and how they then sort of make it their own, unique and individual in their own way. So that's really lovely, and really the Gemini with the card of the Star, that's a pretty good start off for a 5-card element spread. And since the element of air is so heavily indicated here, and let's face it, that looks just like Aquarius, let's see what's going on in your element of air, what we are thinking. What's going on here? Okay, the Two of Flames for me, Mahueha, is about fire in the hands, passion, desire, but indecision in the mind. Now, I know a lot of people will say the Two of Swords is indecision, and I get that to an extent, because that seems to be a mental thing. But choices and decision are element of fire for me, right? It's like, oh, I have this burning thing, but do I want to do it this way, or do I want to do it this way? You think of like the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Flames in this deck as this burning seed. It's like, well, do I want to plant it here, or do I want to plant it here? Do I want to do it this way, or do I want to do it this way? Which is very much in harmony with this Gemini thing. You might already be of two minds, you know? Darling, you've got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go, right? And with that indecision on your mind, sort of weighing your options, which does often seem like a mental thing, but this is probably more about passion, will, and desire. Like, what do I want, right? Not just what are my options. That would be more analysis, the Two of Blades in this deck. But what do I want? Thinking about this, and remember, there is no fire without air, so there is no developing desire without contemplation, thought, thinking about it. What's going on emotionally here? Very important on the path of true love. Lovely. 6 of Pentacles. Success, breakthrough, physical balance, breaking through, success, even under, and I'm going to put this in air quotes, handicap. Yes, it is a sort of a Special Olympics wheelchair race there, because everybody in that race wins. It's true, right? But think of that in terms of finding balance amidst adversity, limitations. I mean, if you really look at what we're going on in the planet right now, that does sort of make sense. That you know, we have emotionally this opportunity for breakthrough, for this internal moving forward, finding emotional balance, because our world has been upended, that perhaps our emotions can become clearer, become stronger, become a bit more forward moving in terms of realizing what it is that we really want on an emotional level. Interesting. Let's see what's going on in the soul. And here is our second major arcana card, Ma'at, the card of justice. Now, I just said the Six of Pentacles. The sixes are all about harmony and balance. So here we are seeing this again played out in the card of justice. Now, just even touching that card, here's the empathic stuff that's really coming through here. If there's been some unfairness going on in your life, don't worry. The soul is well aware of it. The gods are well aware of it. That things are going to be balancing out for, I think, all of us, not just the Virgos, I think all of us, that there is a righting of the scales. Like, for example, and I don't know if this is ultimately true, you hear a lot of things going on in times like this, that the hole in the ozone layer is smaller than it's been in decades. That's things coming back into balance. But also, if there has been, I'm getting the word, something unjust, something unfair, that you promised something and delivered nothing, that's going to come into balance here. And not necessarily so much as in punishment, but it will all make sense. Ma'at takes the human heart after death and weighs it against a feather. If it is lighter than the feather, the soul gets to move on. If it is heavier than the feather, well, some interpretations of the Egyptian Book of the Dead say that you reincarnate, another says your soul gets eaten by a demon. I prefer the former rather than the latter, just saying. Of course I would. So very interesting 5-element spread here. In terms of the major arcana cards, certainly you've got the Star and Justice, and it feels like what you want is going to come into balance, and particularly that idea of balance with the Six of Pentacles. That if your heart, oh, there we go, if your heart has been hurt, if there has been some, giving me the word, emotional truncation, not being able to feel things as fully because of limitations or wanting to act upon your feelings, I feel like that's all going to come out in the wash somehow. That's all going to come out in the balance, some fairness and justice restored. Interesting. We've got 3 more cards down. We have got the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack here, the Voices of the Ascended Masters, speaking through this deck and the next deck. There are 4 suits in this one, the suit of the problem, the suit of luck, the suit of healing, and the suit of grace. Let's see what the Ascended Masters say to give you a little more clarity on this one, shall we? Just want to move these over a little bit. That's better. Shooting for symmetry. Virgo that I am. Breathe. My Ascended Masters, please. 1 card in clarity for the Virgo Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. My Ascended Masters, please. A piece of luck, or a piece of healing, or a piece of grace, or a piece of the problem. What is it that the Virgo Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for April 2020 need to know about, need to look at, need to embrace, need to integrate, to be the mate of their own soul here? This is all feeling really interesting and good, and being friendly with the self, but having the honor and the loyalty as the warrior to like overcome these obstacles. Seeing that certainly here in that card of success, emotional success, breakthrough, with the Star guiding them forward while they're gathering information and figuring out what it is that they really want to do here. With that, the soul really talking about justice, that things coming into balance in a very, very good way. I'm feeling that. So my masters, please elucidate with a Chuck Spezzano Love Pack card what we got. Yeah, The card of Justice is about betrayal. Okay? So I was feeling that it's all going to work out, but a betrayal either is going to be revealed or a betrayal is going to be resolved. Now look, betrayal plays itself out in many different ways. Sometimes we just betray ourselves, right? By not going for our heart's desires, for allowing our fears to dominate us when our soul is saying, do it. You know, this is what you came in to do. Now, I personally think that we can't really get that stuff wrong ultimately, that it's all a learning curve, taking into consideration the quantum nature of things. When one version of us says no, another says yes, another says maybe, right? But that we all end up where we're supposed to be in the divine plan in terms of our own destiny and the manifestation of what we signed up to do in this life in terms of healing, growing, and becoming our own soulmates. But this might also very much be about healing from betrayal, or a betrayal being undone, something being brought into balance that way in terms of justice. It can play itself out all sorts of different ways. It's an interesting card to get there. I mean, here it's obviously romantic betrayal, but I mean, unless you're living with the person that you're romantically involved with, many people are, but even then, might not necessarily play out that way. So let's move on to the next deck, the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. Again, the voices of the Ascended Masters giving us a little guidance, grace, and clarity. One side of the card is the Healing Mantra. The other is the name of the mantra that I will use to look it up in the book. Cool? Nice deep breath. Here we go. My Ascended Masters, please, one card in clarity for this Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, please. What is their perfect healing mantra for the month of April 2020 on the path of true love for the Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, please? One card in clarity for the Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love. What is their perfect healing mantra? Thank you so very much, my Ascended Masters. Shall we? Processing grief. Yeah, it does feel like this is probably about this card of betrayal, since both of these cards are from the point of view of the Ascended Masters. Hence this indecision about what to do, hence about this breaking through, this emotional balance, that emotional success, that perhaps there has been betrayal. Now, knowing what I know about certain forms of literature, the final circle of hell is betrayal. It is sort of the worst of it all, because betrayal is based on trust. But with this card of justice from the soul, it does kind of say that this is all going to work out to our benefit somehow. My losses prove how deeply I loved, in past tense. My losses prove how deeply I loved, with processing guilt. Let me read you that. Let's see. Okay, processing grief. When grief is processed, you are able to notice the maturity you gained, even when losing the people, places, and things that once defined your sense of self. It happens. As you process grief, you are able to celebrate how deeply you committed to love instead of holding a grudge towards those who left or couldn't love you back. Once grief is fully processed, it can ignite a deeper commitment to love. You know that your alignment with Source is not a matter of what comes or goes. It is determined by how much of yourself you are willing to share. This mantra is ideal for opening back up to love, rebuilding trust, and addressing heartache. Here's what I know about grief. None of us are taught as children how to deal with it. Maybe the new generation of kids, their parents are getting better with that. But even adults have trouble dealing with grief. That's a thing, right? Grief is love that doesn't know where to go because its object of affection or attention is gone through death, divorce, or distance. So to give yourself time and space to process that grief, to, as Matt Kahn would say, love what rises, embrace your grief, let it come through. That certainly is indicated here in this card of the Six of Pentacles in the emotional field of success under handicap or success through limitation, with that card of Ma'at balancing out that betrayal. It does feel like grief over betrayal. Feels like somebody promised something and delivered nothing, which is all too common in this world, particularly on the path of true love. But that's necessary for us, not that we become distrustful, although that's a necessary part of the process, but so that we can purify our fields from this grief and trust that no matter what comes or no matter what goes, we are the mates of our own soul, and only we can give ourselves the love that only we can give ourselves. That's what makes us the mates of our own soul, and therefore better soulmates to any of our relationships. And keep in mind, with this card of friendship, this might have been a friend thing, right? This might not have been a lover thing at all. Yeah, betrayal comes in many shapes and forms, but ultimately, did you betray yourself is the question. And are you willing to do what's necessary to process that grief? Tricky shit, but that's the path of true love, hence the warrior archetype. It does take, just to reiterate, strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, that's a word you want to look up, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Yeah. Or maybe integrating the ego, right? Loving that ego as it just rails over this whole thing. Loving what rises, loving what arises. Last card down, and then we'll do an overview. The Whispers of Love Oracle, the voices of the higher self for the Virgos. You ready? Here we go. Higher selves of all involved, please. One card in clarity. For the Virgo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, please. A whisper of love from the higher self collective, mine included. What is the whisper for us Virgos on the path of true love for April 2020, please? My beloveds, our beautiful, magnificent, transcendent higher selves. Listen with your heart. You are hearing what is being said to you, but you need to listen with a loving heart. I have a feeling someone's going to apologize. I have a feeling someone's going to reach out, probably in a friendly way. And you might hear what they're saying, but will you be able to keep your heart open? Now look, I've said many times, I am both a student and teacher of Course in Miracles for decades. And the Course in Miracles is all about quantum forgiveness, not the Newtonian forgiveness that many of us were raised with, right? You're separate, I'm separate, you did this to me, and I'm going to forgive you because I'm going to be spiritual. No, true forgiveness is getting that everybody's doing the best that they can, everybody has pain to deal with, and that everything is happening for us, not to us. So forgiveness, you don't even have to rush into forgiveness, you just have to eventually allow forgiveness to happen. And you can say as simply as, all right, I'm going to listen to what this person has to say, and may they be forgiven. I may not be able to forgive them now, but I am willing to allow them to be forgiven. You see, there are different ways of going about it. I think pushing yourself to forgive too soon can cause a lot of imbalance because you probably don't really mean it, and you're probably ignoring or truncating some of your own emotional pain, where this really does speak about moving forward. So in terms of listening with your own heart, can you feel the truth of what they're saying? And you may not want to because of unprocessed grief. But look, everybody has been betrayed sooner or later. Everybody will betray sooner or later, but particularly betraying ourselves. And how does a warrior deal with betrayal? In the shadow, pretty horribly. In the light, pretty honorably. Let's pop this puppy up pop up the picture and get you an overview, shall we? Magic clap. So we start you off here with the shadow attribute of the warrior archetype. Trading ethical principles for victory at any cost. Indifference to the suffering inflicted on others, which is pretty harsh in any form of relationship. It's like proving you're right, even if you have to tear them down to do so. The light attribute, strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. And with that card of the healing with the angels there with friendship, I really do feel like, as much as this might be about a friendship relationship for some of you on the path of true love, I think this is also really about us being friendly with ourselves. Keep in mind, the point of this reading is how we mate our own soul, how we become our own soulmate. So to be friendly with yourself, to be gently with yourself, while keeping all of those light attributes of the warrior moving forward in terms of personal alchemy, is probably the best thing that we can do if we are isolated and not so much in physical contact with people, kind of doing more the internal work. And what you want is the star. You do want the guidance and the grace. You do want to fulfill your higher destiny. You do want to see things from that larger quantum place of it all working out for the highest good of all. At least for yourself, if not for everybody involved, considering there's betrayal right next to it there. But with that card of the Gemini, of course, that does speak about communication, which reflexes over to that card, listen with your heart, that the higher self gave us. Doesn't mean that you have to immediately resolve in your mind the indecision of what you want to do about this. Allow things to unfold naturally. Allow the communication to unfold, or whatever is playing out on the path of true love. You can think about it, you can contemplate it, but what's really feeling way more important here is that Six of Pentacles, the card of success in the emotional field. My eye just keeps going back to that, really pointing out that there is breakthrough here for the Virgos emotionally, keeping in mind that card of justice, the point of view or the voice of the soul, saying, honey, it's all coming out in the wash. It's going to be successful for you emotionally. It's going to be the fulfillment of the promise of the star. There's still information being gathered. Sure, the mind may be going back and forth in terms of what you want to do about this, but the scales are being balanced, considering that the Six of Pentacles, all sixes in the tarot, are about balance in one way, shape, or form. The Ascended Masters are giving us the card of betrayal, one of the problem cards here, that some betrayal has gone on, and whether it's betrayal of self, you betrayed someone, someone betrayed you, any way that plays out, it has certainly brought grief, probably not just to the person betrayed, but to the betrayer as well. What if they are under pains of grief, unprocessed grief, I can't seem to say the word, unprocessed grief, that is the pain that causes them to be betrayed, because they still have a knife in the back that may have nothing to do with you. They were betrayed, therefore they betray. That's what happens in that chain of pain thing. If we don't process grief, we tend to live in it and create it around us. In not so good grief and really painful grief. So to remember, the mantra for that is, my losses prove how deeply I loved. So embrace that love and allow that grief to be. You will be guided through it. You will be healed, and it will balance the scales for you. But also there says the higher self, the whisper of love, listen with your heart. You are listening to what is being said to you, but you need to listen with a loving heart. And therein I really feel like there is reception of truth there, that once you are heard, have been heard, or are doing the hearing, this can really play itself out as a victory for the warrior in a very friendly way, regardless of what happens next. Remember, this is just 1 month, and a tricky month, as many of us are still coping with and dealing with what's going on in a global crisis. So there you have it, my Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Not a pretty read, but a strong one, and one that definitely indicates some healing here. Please do take care of yourself, and by all means, may the Virgo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need on the path of true love for April 2020, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they may be the best that they can be, fulfilling their role in the divine plan for their well-being and for the well-being of all. And there you have it, my darlings. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, if you so choose, share a little in the comment section. If you get a heart and a thumbs up at the same time, that's me. I can't comment on absolutely all of them, but I do read absolutely all of them. Cool. Wishing you the very best and the very blessed of April 2020 on the path of true love, my darlings, my brother, sister, Virgos. But for now, hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.